There is a very specific look a retiree gets. You've seen it. Maybe you've worn it. It's the face you make about 4 seconds after you walk into a room and your entire body quietly announces, well, this was a mistake. Your feet want to go home, your shoulders are already leaving, and your face is doing that polite little smile that says, I'm having a wonderful time, while your soul is filing for early retirement from the retirement. Here's the thing, when you retire, you don't just get free time, you get a whole new map of the world. And on that map, certain places light up bright red, not because they're dangerous, because they're exhausting. And for the first time in about 40 years, you have full permission to look at the red zones and say, nope, not today, not with these knees. So today, we're drawing that map together. 8 places most retirees would rather chew glass than spend an afternoon in. Some of these you'll nod at, a couple might sting a little, and by the end, I want to convince you of something that took me way too long to figure out myself. Let's go. Location 1. Crowded bars and loud nightlife spots. Now, listen, there was a version of you, a magnificent, high-energy version who could close down a bar on a Tuesday and be at work by 8. That person was a legend. But you walk into a crowded bar now, and something shifts. The music isn't music anymore. It's a pressure system. You can feel it in your chest like a second, angrier heartbeat. Someone is playing a song you don't recognize at a volume designed to loosen your dental work. And the worst part, the conversation. You lean in, you cup your ear, you say, "What?" You get an answer. You still didn't hear it, so you just laugh and nod and hope to God they weren't telling you their dog died. You end up in this beautiful, absurd loop where 2 grown adults are screaming, "What?" back and forth at each other like a couple of confused owls. And here's the quiet truth underneath the joke. It's not that you got old and boring, it's that your nervous system got smart. It figured out that standing shoulder to shoulder with 300 sweaty strangers while a bass line rearranges your organs is not, in fact, fun. It's just loud. You earned quiet. Real, expensive, hard-won quiet. Don't let anyone guilt you back into the noise. Location 2. Huge shopping malls on weekends. Next stop, the Mega Mall on a Saturday, which, if we're being honest, is just a loud bar with escalators and a food court. The parking lot alone takes 10 years off your life. You circle like a hawk, you spot a space, you commit, and out of nowhere, a minivan with the reflexes of a fighter jet slides in from the other direction and takes it. And you can't even yell because you're a person of dignity now, so you just whisper something unrepeatable and go find spot 4000 by the garden center. Then you get inside and it's a sensory ambush. There's a kiosk person locking eyes with you from 40 feet away, sensing weakness, already unfolding a pamphlet. Teenagers moving in packs of 9, all walking exactly slow enough to be illegal. A pretzel smell so aggressive it should require a permit. And somewhere, always, a child expressing an opinion about your socks at maximum volume. You went in to buy one thing. 1. A pair of pants that fit like the last pair did before they mysteriously shrank in the wash. 2 hours later, you're sitting on a bench outside a candle store, holding a smoothie you don't remember buying, wondering where your afternoon went and whether your car is even still in this state. The mall is a time thief. And here's the plot twist. You have the internet now. You can buy those pants from your couch, in your good chair, with a snack, while the mall exists as nothing more than a distant memory and a place teenagers go to be dramatic. Location 3. Extremely trendy restaurants. And this one might be the most personally offensive of the bunch. Your grandkid picks it, or your neighbor won't stop raving about it, and you go because you're a good sport and you like a nice meal. And the trouble starts before you've even eaten a single thing. First, you can't get in. This is a restaurant you must apparently book the way people book a moon landing, 6 weeks out at exactly 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, refreshing an app for dinner, for food that you then have to pay for. You finally get a table, and it's not a table. It's a communal slab you share with 11 strangers on a stool with no back in a room made entirely of concrete and exposed brick and hanging light bulbs. Then they hand you the menu, except they don't. There's a little sticker on the table, and you're informed you must scan it with your phone. So now you're at dinner, squinting at a screen, holding it at arm's length, then closer, then arm's length again, doing the reading glasses dance while the waiter watches with the patience of a saint. And the menu itself is a riddle. Nothing is a normal food. Everything is deconstructed or foraged or served as a foam. There are no portions. There are small plates meant for sharing, which is a very fancy way of saying you're going to order 9 of them, spend $200, and drive home to make a sandwich. The waiter arrives to describe a single scallop for a full 90 seconds. It comes out on a plank the size of a doormat with one lonely scallop in the middle, 3 dots of sauce, and a single edible flower placed there by tweezers by a man who went to school for this. And you look down at it, and then you look up, and your whole face is just quietly asking, where is the rest of it? Here's the thing, though. You are not a snob, and you are not out of touch. You have eaten wonderful food your entire life. You know what a great meal feels like. It feels warm and generous and unhurried, and you can hear the person across from you. A trendy restaurant, for all its tweezers, often forgets every single one of those things. So, if the hot new spot leaves you tired, broke, and secretly craving a diner where the portions are enormous, the coffee is bottomless, and the waitress calls you hun, trust that. That's not you being old. That's you having taste. Location 4. Busy airports during peak travel. Ah, the airport. The one place on Earth designed to make a calm, reasonable adult feel like a fugitive. It starts before you even leave the house. You wake up at 4 a.m., a time you thought you retired away from, because the airline recommends you arrive 3 hours early, which is airline for, we would like to watch you panic in a chair for a while. Then security. Oh, security. You've packed carefully. You've thought this through, and still, somehow, you become public enemy number 1 over a travel-sized shampoo. The belt comes off, the shoes come off, the dignity comes off. You're standing there in your socks, holding your pants up with one hand, being asked to explain the medical device that is quite literally keeping you alive. And you make it through, and you're breathing again. And then you look up at the departures board, and it just says one word in cold, blinking letters, delayed. No apology, no explanation, just the airport's way of saying, we own your entire day now, and there's nothing you can do about it. So, you find a seat near the gate, next to a man aggressively eating the world's crunchiest sandwich, and you wait, and you people watch, and you slowly transform into the person who says, you know what, next time we're driving. The discomfort here isn't just the crowds, it's the total loss of control. And control is a thing you spent your whole life building. So, when you find yourself dreading the airport, that's not you being difficult, that's you having standards. The good news is, you're the boss now. You can fly on a Tuesday morning in October when the terminal is empty and the whole place feels like it's yours.
Location 5. Extremely crowded tourist attractions. Which brings us to the vacation itself, and specifically the famous must-see world-renowned tourist attraction, the one on every list, the one you traveled 2,000 miles and paid actual American dollars to experience. And you get there, and you cannot see it, because approximately 11,000 other people had the exact same brilliant original idea. You booked a trip to see history, art, a breathtaking natural wonder. What you actually get to see is the back of a very tall man's neck and roughly 400 phones held up in the air, all recording a moment nobody's actually living. There's a specific kind of tired that only exists at tourist attractions. You're standing in a line that hasn't moved in 20 minutes, it's 90 degrees, someone's backpack keeps gently assaulting you, a tour guide with a little flag is herding a group past you at a pace that suggests they're being timed. And you paid extra for this. This is the premium experience. And the whole time, there's a quiet little voice in your head going, this would be genuinely beautiful if there were, say, 9 fewer thousand people here. That voice is correct. And here's the freedom of your age. You can listen to it. You don't have to see the thing at noon in July with the whole world. Go in the off-season. Go at 7 a.m. Go see the second most famous version of the thing 3 towns over, where you can actually breathe, take a real photo, and sit on a bench without paying $9 for the privilege. The best views in the world are rarely where the crowd is pointed. Location 6. Formal networking events. You know the scene. A hotel ballroom with carpet that has seen things, a folding table of lukewarm shrimp, a name tag that says, "Hello, my name is," in a font that assumes you're excited to be here, and a room full of people all doing the same anxious dance, scanning over your shoulder while you talk, looking for someone more important to talk to. Here's what makes it deeply strange for a retiree. For decades, you had an answer to the question, so what do? You had a title, a company, a whole identity in a single sentence. And now someone asks you that question at the little shrimp table, and there's this half-second pause, because "I'm retired" feels, to a lot of people, like handing over a business card that's blank. It isn't, by the way, but the room is set up to make you feel like it is. The whole event runs on the currency of usefulness. What can I do for you? Who do you know? What's your angle? And you just spent 40 years being useful to everyone. You are off the clock. So when a networking event makes your skin crawl, it's not social anxiety. It's your gut correctly identifying that you have wandered into a marketplace and you're no longer for sale. That's not a loss. That's a graduation. Take the little shrimp on your way out. You earned it. Location 7. Social gatherings where everyone is comparing success. Speaking of currency, let's talk about the reunion, the dinner party, the gathering where officially everyone came to reconnect and unofficially everyone came to quietly measure themselves against everyone else. You know it within the first 10 minutes. The conversation has a scoreboard. Someone mentions their new lake house. Somebody's kid is a surgeon and a triathlete and apparently a wonderful human being. Someone's cruising the Mediterranean in the spring. And the whole table is smiling and nodding and secretly recalculating their entire lives in real time. And here's the trap. You start doing math you have no business doing. You start comparing your retirement, your real, specific, hard-earned retirement, to the highlight reel of a person you see twice a year. Let me say this plainly because I think it matters. Comparison is the fastest way to feel poor while being perfectly fine. You could have exactly enough. A paid-off house, your health, people who love you, mornings that are entirely your own, and one guy's lake house can make you feel like you failed. That's not a money problem, that's a comparison problem. The most content retirees I've ever met all share one habit. They stopped keeping score. They figured out that the game of who's winning at life has no finish line and no prize, and the only way to win is to quietly stop playing. So if a room full of comparison makes you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is your values talking.
Location 8. Large events where they don't know anyone. Your daughter drags you to a wedding for her friend's side of the family. Your spouse's company throws a retirement gala for someone you've met or met. You get invited to a big, fun get-together, and you show up and realize you are, socially speaking, on the moon. And there's this very particular flavor of lonely that only happens in a crowd. 200 people all laughing, all mid-conversation, all clearly connected to each other by some invisible web, and you, standing near the drinks table, holding a glass with two hands like it's the only friend you brought. When you were younger, you could push through it. You had the energy to walk up to strangers and manufacture a conversation out of thin air and a comment about the weather. But these particular muscle takes fuel, and these days, you'd frankly rather spend that fuel on people you already love. Here's a small thing I've noticed, though, and I want to give you this one for free. The retirees who handle these events best aren't the smooth extroverts. They're the ones who've learned to find the one. You don't have to work the room. You just have to find one other person standing near the drinks table with the same slightly lost look on their face and go rescue each other. 2 lifeboats make a raft. But if you'd rather just leave after 45 polite minutes, you can. You shout up, you wore the good shoes, that's the whole assignment. Nobody's grading you. So there's your 8 red zones. And if you're sitting there realizing you've white-knuckled your way through most of them out of politeness or habit, I want you to hear this clearly. You are allowed to leave. You are allowed to say no. Discomfort at this stage of life isn't a flaw to fix. It's information. It's 40 decades of hard-won instinct finally getting to vote. And 9 times out of 10, it's voting for a quieter room, a smaller table, and a life that fits like your favorite chair. You didn't work your whole life to earn the right to be miserable in fancier locations. You earned the right to be comfortable, so spend it. Guard it, and the next time your feet start heading for the exit 4 seconds after you walk in, trust the feet. The feet have been paying attention. If any of this hit a little too close to home in the best way, let me know down in the comments which one of these 8 you'd cross the street to avoid. And if you want more straight talk about making these years genuinely yours, the money, the freedom, the quiet, all of it, go ahead and subscribe because that's exactly what we do around here. I'll see you in the next one. Now go enjoy your peace and quiet. You more than earned it.